Nancy Light joins us now. She's the Director of Communications for California's Wine Institute. Nancy, great to have you with us on the show.
Great to be here, Randall. Good morning, Patty.
You must be so excited, Nancy, to have one full month that has been declared Wine Month. And it's official. The governor declared it, correct?
That's correct. Yes, this is the 8th year we've had a California Wine Month, the month of September. And, it's a great time of year to be in California. I think it's some of our most beautiful weather, and of course the other part of it is it's the harvest, and this is when everything comes together. We are an agricultural product after all, and so it's just a beautiful time to visit and really experience that.
Is that why September was chosen as California Wine Month, because it fell during the harvest?
Exactly. It's so, you're in a wine region, you can smell the grapes, you see the grapes on the road. It's just, it really kind of brings home that this is a business. Agriculture is different, and the harvest is different every year. You taste a little bit of history when you're drinking a bottle of wine.
I love that smell that you were just mentioning. We used to go water skiing quite a bit at a lake called Lake Berryessa near Napa, and we would have to go right through Napa, over to the Silverado Trail through Yountville to get to Berryessa, and we would pass these grapevines on a hot September day, and you can smell the sulfur and the grapes and it's just such a
It takes you back.
Yeah, those olfactory smells that you pull in and boom, you're a child again.
Yeah, they're very powerful.
That's one of them. I love it.
Exactly.
Well, I was joking with Randall earlier that it's just 1 month of Wine Month in California.
It's every month, but there's a special time. Of course, wineries are always welcoming visitors around the year, but this is a time when they're really highlighting what's happening at the winery, and we have over 120 different events.
Wow.
Specific to California Wine Month. Some of these are happening month-long, some are just on certain weekends, but they're happening all over the state from north to south, and really just kind of upping the wonderful time you can have at wineries. You can bike, hike, sail, do yoga, music, and then taste wine too. So
wine yoga?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're talking.
You relax with yoga, and then you end with a glass of wine. What could be more perfect?
Where's that taking place?
That's taking place at Wente Vineyards in Livermore Valley.
I love it.
Oh, that is a great combination.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and that's Wente, W-E-N-T-E.
W-E-N-T-E, and I should just say all of these events are listed on our website at Discover California Wines, and you just hit on the Wine Month tab.
Okay.
So one of my students at Cal Poly is a Wente.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yes, and she's talked about her. And when you said that, I went, wait, it's all coming back to me. Allie's told me about this.
Right. So now when you
Yes.
run into your student, Allie, you can say, hey, you got yoga at your winery. Yes. I found out about it on Eat, Drink, Explore. So there are several very large events going on, one in San Francisco, one in Los Angeles, and then we round the month off here on the Central Coast with Savor, right?
Exactly. Let me tell you about the two. So two of those are events that Wine Institute is actually hosting. These are California wine regions. We're calling them California Wines Road Trips. They're all wine regions from around the state under one roof at tastings in L.A. The first of them is happening this Thursday, September 6th, at the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills. So we'll have about 30 vintners and growers pouring wines, about 80 wines, again, from 12 different regions. It's just a great way to, taste all of California without, under one roof at one tasting. And then we'll be repeating that on September 22nd. That's Saturday at the Ferry Building in San Francisco.
Oh, I love that. Oh, and at the Ferry Building, too. That's such a nice
two great
location.
locations, and beautiful hotel in Beverly Hills, and great food location in San Francisco.
The great thing I like about the Ferry Plaza there is its access to public transit. I've mentioned that before, but especially for a wine tasting,
Exactly.
You've got all sorts of ways to get away from it without getting behind the wheel yourself.
Exactly. And we do, of course, always have designated driver discounts for our tastings. So,
Nancy, you were talking about it being harvest time, and I think what I felt so lucky to be able to be at a winery during the sparkling wine harvest, Letitia. And it was just such a cool process to see when they assembled the big press and everything. I think anyone who wants to drink wine needs to go to a winery and see that process. You need to see how it happens.
I agree. It's really fascinating, and it gives you a whole different appreciation for what you're tasting.
It really does. You mentioned how many different wine regions now? 12?
Oh, there's more. Depending on how you count it, there's actually dozens, and I think, as you know, new ones kind of identifying themselves and coming online, every day. But we have 115 official American viticulture areas in California. So those are grape-growing regions that have been designated as having, differences based on history and weather and climate and geography. So, and then if you just want to talk about areas like Paso and SLO, there's somewhere, between 30 and 40 of those.
Yeah, and of course you've got the flagship valleys that are known worldwide, Napa and Sonoma and such. And then you have these hot spots that have really rapidly grown over the last decade or so. Temecula, like you mentioned, the Paso area, Monterey County, and the Sierra foothills. Are there any...
Exactly, and Lodi as well. That's another big one. Lodi has a month-long celebration happening for California Wine Month. They have the Loca Road Trip, and they have events at all wineries there this month as well.
That's right, Loca. I was trying to remember as you started mentioning Lodi. I knew they had a catchy phrase for it.
Yeah, well, it's Lodi, California.
Yeah,
it's
so
a new
Loca.
campaign they have. It's fun.
I like that.
That is very clever.
Yes, and so are there any contest? A lot of times when you have like a big month like this, are there any contests associated with this?
Contests? Did
Yes.
you say?
Uh-huh.
Well, as a matter of fact, that's interesting. This is sort of the Wine Institute. We of course, are always advocating on behalf of the wineries. It's not legal for wineries to do contests in California. They're done all over the rest of the country, but there was just a bill passed by the legislature, and hopefully by this time next year it will be. So there are no contests going on.
Interesting. I'm
Isn't
glad
that
I asked the
interesting?
question
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So it could have. But it was actually a bill that we worked pretty hard on, and we just have to have it signed by the governor. So he signed our proclamation. We hope he'll sign the bill, and we can have some fun contests, because it's something we would love to do with our events this year, is have some trip giveaways to some wine regions for folks coming in.
Right. Now, when any official numbers come in for, harvest numbers, how California is doing in terms of wine sales worldwide, exports, imports, all that sort of thing, it always comes from the Wine Institute. And
That's right.
So what is the Wine Institute exactly?
So we're an association of California wineries, and essentially we are representing the collective interests of California wine throughout the state, the country, and actually internationally as well. So we have a very robust export program. You may know we export over $1 billion of wine around the world as of last year to 125 different countries. So essentially we're representing the California wine industry and also providing information on the industry and its contributions and activities.
So the entire month will wrap up with Savor the Central Coast, put on by Sunset Magazine and the San Luis Obispo County Convention and Visitors Bureau, or I think it's the Visitors and Convention Bureau,
Yes.
the VCP, right? And lots of events going on with that as well, right?
That is a cool event. It's 4 days. There's all kinds of food activities and chef demonstrations and seminars. I think probably the most fun is the evening at Hearst Castle. Sounds great to me.
It really does.
Yeah, so I think that's just a wonderful event, and that kind of wraps up the month from the 27th to the 30th. So,
And I believe that kickoff event at Hearst Castle features sustainable wines. That is a very large growing area of California's wine industry.
it's really important to us, and it's an area where California is really in a leadership position. We have the California Sustainable Wine Growing Alliance, which is a self-assessment program where wineries basically look at all their practices in the vineyard, in the winery, in the community, to see that they're employing best practices that benefit all of those areas. And we have about 70% of our vineyards and about the same number of our wineries participating in that. So.
Okay, well, Nancy Light, the Director of Communications for the Wine Institute. Nancy, as you mentioned, people can find more information by going on California Wine Month by going to discovercaliforniawines.com and clicking on the Wine Month tab. We have that link available, as always, at eatdrinkexplore.com. Appreciate you coming on the show right in the middle of your Labor Day weekend.
I appreciate being here. Thanks so much. Great talking with you.
Okay, well, stick around, everyone, because up next is the always popular, Patty, travel deals segment.
Ooh, yes.
Gabe Saglia, always taking vacations, but in the middle of his vacations will join us.
He's not unplugged.
No, in this case, he will be joining us from his home, as a matter of fact, and he's got some great deals throughout California and beyond. Stick around for that. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network on this Sunday morning. Back in a moment. It's time to channel your inner cowboy or cowgirl with a a bit of rustic elegance thrown in for an upcoming culinary experience in Paso Robles at Windfall Farms, an exclusive community that promotes and enhances the sustainability of local agriculture and celebrates equestrian, ranch, and agrarian lifestyles. The Paso Glow event is taking place Saturday evening, September the 29th, from 6 to 10 on the final night of this year's Sunset Savor the Central Coast, the West Coast premier food and wine event, September 27th through the 30th, to culminate California Wine Month. The event will wow you with ranch-inspired delicacies prepared by the area's top chefs, the region's best wines, and the warm glow of many illuminated hot air balloons. To purchase tickets and for a full listing of activities, head to SavorCentralCoast.com.